It was the summer football came this close to coming home. Euro 96 wasn't just a tournament, it was a cultural moment. Baddiel and Skinner on the radio, Gazza's goal against Scotland, that penalty shootout heartbreak against Germany, and Wembley packed to the rafters. For a generation of fans, this was the England team that made you believe again. Led by Terry Venables and stacked with big personalities, Shearer, Sheringham, Ince, Gazza, Pearce, this squad mixed old-school grit with a flash of flair. They played with passion, power, and just enough chaos to make every game unforgettable. But nearly 30 years on, what happened to the 22 men who wore the three lions that summer? Some became household names in the media, some went into management with very different results, and others quietly faded from the spotlight. In this video, we're taking a look at every player from England's Euro squad and asking the big question, where are they now? At Euro 96, David Seaman was at the absolute peak of his powers, England's undisputed #1, and a wall between the sticks. Then at Arsenal, he was already one of the most experienced players in the squad, and he had a tournament to remember. He saved a crucial penalty from Gary McAllister in the win over Scotland, and was a hero again in the shootout victory against Spain. Unfortunately, his final act was the penalty shootout against Germany, where Gareth Southgate's miss sealed England's exit. Seaman remained England's first-choice goalkeeper for the next several years. He played at the '98 World Cup, Euro 2000, and the 2002 World Cup. Though his international career ended on a sour note after being lobbed by Brazil's Ronaldinho from a free kick. Still, he won 75 caps for his country, and is widely regarded as one of England's greatest ever goalkeepers. At club level, Seaman's post-Euro 96 years were some of his best. Under Arsene Wenger, he helped turn Arsenal into a progressive and successful side, winning numerous league titles and domestic cups. His ponytail became as iconic as his reflex saves. He left Arsenal in 2003 after over a decade at the club, and spent a short final spell at Manchester City, retiring in 2004 due to a shoulder injury. In 2012, he came out of retirement alongside a host of other ex-professionals, albeit very briefly for non-league side Wembley FC, who were attempting to reach the first round of the FA Cup. Although many called it a publicity stunt, Seaman was subsequently appointed as the club's part-time goalkeeping coach. Since hanging up the gloves, Seaman has stayed active in the public eye. He's appeared on reality shows like Dancing on Ice, done a small degree of punditry work, and even pulled his gloves on again for the England Legends team as part of the ITV show Harry's Heroes. These days, he's a goalkeeping ambassador at Arsenal, and remains one of the most recognisable and well-loved faces in English football. At Euro 96, Gary Neville was just 21 years old, yet already England's starting right back, a sign of how rapidly he had risen through the ranks at Manchester United. Calm, reliable and tactically mature beyond his years, Neville played every match up to the semi-final, where he was suspended after receiving 2 yellow cards. It was a cruel way to miss out on one of England's biggest matches in decades. Despite that setback, Euro 96 marked the beginning of a long and consistent international career. Neville went on to win 85 caps for England, featuring in Euro 2000, Euro 2004, and both the 2002 and 2006 World Cups. For more than a decade, he was the automatic pick at right back, known for his discipline, consistency, and an almost telepathic understanding with David Beckham down the right flank. At club level, Neville was the definition of a one-club man. He made over 600 appearances for Manchester United, winning 8 Premier League titles, 2 UEFA Champions Leagues, 3 FA Cups, and numerous other honours. As a key figure from the legendary class of '92, he was never the flashiest player on the pitch, but he was dependable, trusted, and fiercely competitive. Neville retired in 2011, and quickly moved into coaching and punditry. He served as assistant manager to Roy Hodgson with the England national team, and then took over as head coach at Valencia in 2015. His time in Spain was short-lived, and he was dismissed following a difficult run of results. Since then, Neville has reinvented himself as one of the most respected voices in football media, particularly through his work with Sky Sports. He is also a businessman, co-owner of Salford City, as part of the former United contingent, backing the club's rise through the lower leagues. He is also a hotel owner, entrepreneur, and has appeared as a dragon on the BBC TV show The Dragon's Den. At Euro 96, Stuart Pearce wasn't just part of the England squad, he was a walking redemption arc. At 34 years old, still going strong for Nottingham Forest, he brought grit, leadership, and sheer emotional intensity to the back line. This was his comeback story, a chance to banish the ghosts of Italia '90 and that infamous penalty miss against Germany. Pearce started every game of the tournament and was one of England's standout performers. When the quarter-final against Spain went to penalties, he stepped up and smashed his kick into the net. His celebration, screaming and fist-pumping with tears in his eyes, became one of the most iconic moments in English football history. It wasn't just a goal, it was closure. He also played the full match in the semi-final against Germany, showing his trademark steel, and came agonizingly close to reaching a major final. That match would be his last tournament appearance, but he stayed in the squad until 1999, finishing his international career with 78 caps and 5 goals. At club level, Pearce was a Forest legend. He made over 400 appearances for the club, serving as player-manager during the 1996-97 season. He later played for Newcastle United, West Ham United and Manchester City, finally retiring in 2002 at the age of 40, still thundering into tackles right to the very end. After retiring, Pearce transitioned into management and coaching. He managed Manchester City from 2005 to 2007, took charge of the England under-21s, and was manager of Great Britain's Olympic team in 2012. He also returned to manage Nottingham Forest briefly in 2014. In recent years, he's become a popular voice in the media, regularly appearing on TalkSport and several TV broadcasters as a co-commentator. In 2025, Pearce was taken ill on a flight having suffered from chest pains. Thankfully, he has since made a speedy recovery. At Euro '96, Paul Ince was right at the heart of England's midfield, both literally and figuratively. Then, playing his football abroad with Inter Milan, he brought steel, drive, and authority to the side. He was the perfect blend of aggression and intelligence, able to win the ball, carry it forward, and marshal those around him. At 28 years old, Ince was in his prime. He played in every match of the tournament, forming a strong midfield partnership with both David Platt and Paul Gascoigne at different stages. Ince was immense against the Dutch and tireless against Spain and Germany. His work rate allowed others to play. He was one of the unsung heroes of the tournament, never flashy, always vital. Ince would go on to earn 53 England caps, scoring 2 goals. He played at the 1998 World Cup, where he famously battled through a cut and bloodied forehead in the qualifier against Italy, a moment that summed up his fearless approach. He also featured at Euro 2000, before retiring from international duty shortly after. Domestically, Ince returned to English football with Liverpool, later playing for Middlesbrough, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Swindon Town, and Macclesfield Town, where he transitioned into management. Ince made history as the first black British manager in the Premier League, taking charge of Blackburn Rovers in 2008. He also managed MK Dons, Notts County, Blackpool, and most recently Reading. These days he appears in punditry and remains a proud advocate for diversity and leadership in football. His son, Tom Ince, has followed in his footsteps as a professional footballer. Tony Adams was the heart and soul of England's defence, and the man wearing the captain's armband. At 30 years old, and already a veteran of Euro '88 and Euro '92, Adams was playing some of the best football of his career. Then with Arsenal, where he'd already spent over a decade, he brought leadership, grit, and presence to a team that was daring to dream. He started every game of the tournament, and was a rock at the back, forming a formidable partnership with Gareth Southgate. Adams led by example throughout, from the solid group stage performances to the nerve-wracking quarter-final against Spain and the emotional semi-final against Germany. Although England fell short, Adams left the tournament with his reputation as a top-level defender firmly intact. He continued with England through to the 1998 World Cup, where he once again captained the side. His international career wrapped up shortly after, with a total of 66 caps and 5 goals, a true servant to the national team. At club level, Adams is Arsenal royalty. He made 669 appearances for the Gunners, captaining them to league titles in 3 different decades, the 80s, 90s and 2000s. Under Arsene Wenger, he transformed himself from an old-school stopper into a more refined, modern defender, helping the club win the 1997-98 Premier League and FA Cup double. Off the pitch, Adams fought and overcame alcoholism, going public with his story in 1996. He later founded the Sporting Chance Clinic, which helps athletes deal with addiction and mental health issues. After retiring in 2002, Adams moved into management, though with mixed results. He took charge of Wycombe Wanderers, Portsmouth, Gabala in Azerbaijan, and briefly Granada in Spain, but success was elusive. At Euro 96, Gareth Southgate was still something of a newcomer on the international stage. At 25 years old, and playing for Aston Villa, he was calm, composed and intelligent, not the loudest man in the squad, but one of the most dependable. Terry Venables trusted him, and Southgate started every game of the tournament, forming a solid partnership with Tony Adams at the heart of England's defence. He played superbly throughout the competition, reading the game, intercepting danger, and keeping things tidy under pressure. But despite a string of assured performances, it's one moment that defines his tournament, the semi-final shootout against Germany. With the score level after 5 penalties each, Southgate stepped up for England's 6th, and saw his efforts saved. It was heartbreak. For years he was unfairly remembered as the man who missed, but history would write a very different ending for him. Southgate went on to win 57 caps for England, featuring at the 1998 World Cup and Euro 2000. He was never the headline act, but he was trusted, tactically smart, and hugely respected by teammates and managers alike. Domestically with Aston Villa, he won the 1996 League Cup. In 2001, he signed for Middlesbrough, where he captained the side to League Cup glory in 2004, and to a UEFA Cup final in 2006. He became Middlesbrough manager immediately after retiring, and later worked with the FA in a development role before taking over as England under-21 manager. Then came the unexpected promotion. In 2016, he became England senior manager, first as a caretaker, then full-time. What followed was one of the most remarkable redemptions in English football history. He led England to the World Cup semi-final in 2018 before back-to-back European Championship finals, losing out to both Italy and Spain. Despite falling short, he rebuilt the relationship between the team and the fans, with class, humility and quiet strength, and was subsequently knighted in the process. David Platt was one of the most experienced and trusted players in the England squad. At 30 years old and playing for Arsenal, he had already represented his country at Italia 90, Euro 92, and had captained the side during the failed qualification campaign for USA 94. He was a seasoned leader, a goal-scoring midfielder, and the man you could always count on in a big moment. Platt started 2 group games at Euro 96, but was soon rotated for the younger pairing of Paul Ince and Paul Gascoigne. Even so, his importance to the team never wavered. He played in the quarter-final against Spain and played the full semi-final against Germany, where he confidently scored his penalties in both shootouts, just as he had in Italia 90, ice-cold, composed, and utterly dependable. Platt's England career wound down after the tournament. He made his final appearance in 1998, finishing with 62 caps and an impressive 27 goals, a phenomenal return for a midfielder. His club career was one of the most adventurous among his peers, playing for several clubs in Italy before his time with Arsenal. After the tournament, he would go on to playing a key role in their 1997-98 Premier League and FA Cup double under Arsene Wenger. The following season, Platt moved into management, taking charge of Nottingham Forest in a player-manager capacity. His tenure was turbulent, with mixed results and heavy spending. He later coached England's under-21s and served as assistant manager at Manchester City under Roberto Mancini, helping them win the 2011-12 Premier League title. In more recent years, Platt has taken a step back from frontline football, but remains a respected figure in the game, briefly managing Indian side Pune City before being involved as a technical director at Palermo in 2019. If there was one player who embodied the spirit, chaos and heartbreak of Euro 96, it was Paul Gascoigne. At 29 years old, and playing for Rangers in Scotland, Gaza was still capable of moments that defied logic, a flawed genius whose talent could lift an entire nation. Gascoigne started every match of the tournament, and while he showed flashes of brilliance throughout, one moment secured his place in footballing folklore: the goal against Scotland. A flick over Colin Hendry, a thunderous left-foot volley, and the iconic and dentist chair celebration. It wasn't just a goal, it was a cultural moment. Wembley erupted. Gaza had delivered, again. He played a crucial role in the 4-1 demolition of the Netherlands, and came inches from winning the semi-final against Germany, narrowly missing a sliding tap-in during extra time. It was a matter of centimeters between heroism and heartbreak. Gazza's England career ended with 57 caps and 10 goals. He was left out of the 1998 World Cup squad by Glenn Hoddle, a decision that devastated him and symbolised the start of his decline on the international stage. Domestically, his time with Rangers yielded 2 league titles and a Scottish Cup. He later had stints at Middlesbrough, Everton, Burnley, and even briefly played in China with Gansu Tianma before retiring with Boston United in 2004. Gazza attempted a career at football management, but his tenure at non-league Kettering Town lasted only 39 days. His life after football has been turbulent, a battle with addiction, tabloid headlines, and stints in and out of recovery. He's made several attempts at coaching and public speaking, and remains a beloved but tragic figure, never far from the headlines, but always spoken about with affection. Despite it all, Paul Gascoigne remains a national treasure, not just for what he did with a ball, but for the way he made people feel. For one golden summer in 1996, he was England's magician, their joker, and their heartbeat. Heading into Euro '96, Alan Shearer was under pressure. Despite dominating the Premier League with Blackburn Rovers, he hadn't scored for England in over 2 years. The doubters were circling, but within the opening 25 minutes of England's opener against Switzerland, he'd smashed one into the net and never looked back. Shearer finished the tournament as top scorer, with 5 goals in 5 games. He bagged another against Scotland, and a stunning brace in the 4-1 thrashing of the Netherlands. His movement, power, and finishing were elite. Euro '96 didn't just silence his critics, it turned him into a national hero. He went on to become England captain, playing at the 1998 World Cup and Euro 2000, before retiring from international football at the age of 29. He finished with 30 goals in 63 caps, a strike rate that puts him among England's all-time greats. At club level, Shearer had already won the 1994-95 Premier League title with Blackburn, and after Euro '96, he made a then world record £15 million move to his boyhood club, Newcastle United. He became a legend on Tyneside, scoring 260 Premier League goals, still the record to this day. Though trophies eluded him at Newcastle, he was worshipped by the fans and carried the club through highs and lows until his retirement in 2006. Shearer briefly managed Newcastle in 2009, but couldn't prevent relegation. Since then, he's become a fixture on Match of the Day, offering analysis with the same clarity he used to finish chances. Straight-talking, powerful, and utterly clinical, Alan Shearer was the complete number 9. And in the summer of 1996, he wasn't just England's striker, he was Europe's best. At Euro '96, Teddy Sheringham was 30 years old and approaching the peak of his footballing powers. Then leading the line for Tottenham Hotspur, Sheringham was known for his intelligence, link-up play, and vision, a selfless forward who made everyone around him better. He was the ideal partner for Alan Shearer, dropping deep to create space and knit England's attacks together. He started every game of the tournament, but his standout performance came in the 4-1 win over the Netherlands, where he scored twice and linked brilliantly with Shearer, who also netted a brace. It was one of England's greatest performances in living memory, and Sheringham was at the heart of it. Sheringham remained in the England fold through to 2002, earning 51 caps and scoring 11 goals. He featured in the 1998 World Cup, often coming off the bench, including during the dramatic clash with Argentina. He also played at Euro 2000, a rare older head among the new generation of England talent. At club level, Sheringham made a career-defining move to Manchester United in 1997. Some questioned whether he was too old, but he silenced them by playing a vital role in the club's historic 1998-99 treble. He scored the equaliser in the Champions League final and assisted the winner moments later. After leaving United, he returned to Spurs, then played for Portsmouth, West Ham United, and Colchester United. Retiring in 2008 at the age of 42, one of the oldest outfield players in Premier League history. Post-retirement, Sheringham has worked as a pundit, professional poker player, and manager, most notably with Stevenage and ATK in India. Though his coaching career has been low profile, his legacy on the pitch remains secure. Darren Anderton was just 24 years old, but already a regular for both Tottenham Hotspur and England. Known for his technical ability, pinpoint delivery, and clever positioning, Anderton was a calm, intelligent presence on the right-hand side of midfield. When fit, he was one of the most naturally gifted wingers in the Premier League, and that summer, he was fit at the perfect time. Anderton started every match of England's Euro '96 campaign. His quiet efficiency often went under the radar, but he was vital to the team's shape and balance. He came closest to winning the semi-final against Germany, hitting the post in extra time, with the goal at his mercy, a moment that could have rewritten history. It was inches away from glory. He remained part of the England setup for several years, earning 30 caps and scoring 7 goals. He played in the 1998 World Cup, including the classic round of 16 clash with Argentina, where he rattled the post again. Injuries would eventually limit his international appearances, but when available, he was always trusted. At club level, Anderton spent the bulk of his career at Tottenham, making over 300 appearances and helping them reach the 1999 League Cup final. He later had spells with Birmingham City, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and finished his career with a memorable stint at a then League Two, AFC Bournemouth, where he scored the winner in his final professional game before retiring in 2008. Despite being plagued by injuries, earning the nickname Sick Note, Anderton showed incredible resilience and carved out a long, respectable career at the top level. Since retiring, he's kept a relatively low profile, occasionally working in media and appearing at Spurs Legends events. Quiet, composed, and forever just one goalpost away from history, Darren Anderton was a key piece of that magical summer in 1996. Steve Howey was part of England's Euro '96 squad during the best spell of his career, then playing for Newcastle United, although he didn't play a single minute during the tournament. His inclusion has reflected the strength of England's depth in central defence, behind Tony Adams, Gareth Southgate, and Sol Campbell, and instead of the likes of Premier League champions in Gary Pallister and Steve Bruce. For Howey, it was a chance to be part of a major tournament on home soil, and to continue developing at the highest level. His international career was brief but respectable. He earned 4 England caps between 1994 and 1996, with Euro '96 being the pinnacle of his time in a 3 Lions shirt. At club level, Howey made his name at Newcastle, where he was a regular throughout their mid-90s resurgence. He helped the club secure back-to-back top 2 finishes, and played in the 1998 FA Cup final, where they were beaten by Arsenal. In 2000, he moved to Manchester City, where he became an important figure during their turbulent promotion and relegation years. He later played for Leicester City, Bolton Wanderers, and had a brief spell in the United States with New England Revolution before spells back in England at Hartlepool United and Bishop Auckland. After retiring, Howey moved into media for BBC Radio Newcastle and other outlets, as well as briefly managing non-league Crook Town. In December 2024, Howey admitted that his brain is in cognitive decline, which he has attributed to heading footballs. Whatever may happen, we wish Steve all the very best for the future. Tim Flowers was firmly established as one of the best English goalkeepers around. At 29 years old and playing for Blackburn Rovers, he had just helped his club to a historic 1994-95 Premier League title. In the England squad, Flowers served as David Seaman's deputy, wearing the number 13 shirt. Though he didn't feature during the tournament, he was a respected member of the group, offering experience, reliability, and strong competition for the number 1 jersey. Flowers remained in and around the England setup for several years. He earned 11 caps in total, appearing in matches between 1993 and 2000, and was part of the squad for the 1998 World Cup, again as Seaman's backup. At club level, Flowers remained with Blackburn until 1999. He moved to Leicester City, and later had spells at Stockport County, Coventry City and Manchester City, before retiring in 2003. Following retirement, Flowers went into coaching and management. He worked as a goalkeeping coach at Nottingham Forest and Manchester City. He also became a journeyman manager in the lower leagues with Stafford Rangers, Northampton Town, Solihull Moors, Macclesfield Town, Barnet, Stratford Town, Gloucester City, Bromsgrove Athletic, Redditch United, and currently Alvechurch. Nick Barmby was the youngest outfield player in England's Euro '96 squad at just 22 years old. A creative, clever attacking midfielder, Barmby had made a somewhat surprising move from Tottenham Hotspur to Middlesbrough for a club record fee in the previous summer. Quick, technically gifted, and versatile, he could play wide, in the number 10 role, or even as a second striker, a modern-style footballer before that term was widely used. He made 3 substitute appearances during the tournament. With this international career spanned 23 caps, with 4 goals, scored between 1995 and 2001. He played under several managers, including Glenn Hoddle, Kevin Keegan, and Sven-Goran Eriksson, and was part of the squads for both Euro 2000 and the early qualifying stages for the 2002 World Cup. At club level, after leaving Middlesbrough, he joined Everton, where he became a fan favourite, and then made the highly controversial move across Stanley Park to sign for Liverpool in 2000. It was a bold switch, but it paid off. He won the FA Cup, League Cup, and UEFA Cup during the club's famous 2000 to 2001 treble season. He later played for Leeds United, before returning to his hometown to finish his career with Hull City, where he also began his managerial career in 2011. He was dismissed after a short spell, following disputes with the club's ownership. Since then, Barmby has stepped back from the public football scene, focusing on family and life in East Yorkshire. Quietly respected and fondly remembered. Jamie Redknapp entered Euro 96 as one of England's brightest midfield talents. At just 22 years old and playing for Liverpool, he was known for his cultured passing, elegant technique, and calmness on the ball. The son of manager Harry Redknapp, Jamie had football in his blood and was part of the new wave of stylish modern English midfielders. Unfortunately, the tournament didn't go as planned. Redknapp carried a slight injury into the competition and was used sparingly. He made only one appearance, coming on as a substitute against Scotland. His involvement was brief, but being part of the squad at that age showed how highly rated he was by Terry Venables and the national coaching staff. Redknapp's international career was ultimately limited by injuries. He earned 17 caps between 1995 and 1999, and while he featured in qualifiers, he missed both World Cup '98 and Euro 2000 due to injury, a story that would repeat throughout his career. At club level, Redknapp spent the majority of his playing years at Liverpool, making over 230 appearances, and even captaining the side. Though his time at Anfield coincided with the so-called Spice Boys era, a team full of talent but light on trophies, Redknapp was respected for his professionalism and vision. He later played for Tottenham Hotspur, and ended his career at Southampton, where he retired in 2005 after another serious knee injury. Post-retirement, Redknapp became one of the most recognisable football pundits on British television. He's a key figure on Sky Sports, a regular on A League of Their Own, and has dabbled in fashion, fitness and brand work, carving out a career as both a football analyst and media personality. At just 21 years old, Sol Campbell, then a rising star at Tottenham Hotspur, he had already built a reputation as one of the most physically dominant young centre-backs in the Premier League. Tall, powerful and composed beyond his years, Campbell was selected by Terry Venables as a squad player for the tournament. He made one appearance against Scotland, but for Campbell his inclusion was a signal of what was to come. His international career blossomed after that summer. Campbell went on to earn 73 caps for England between 1996 and 2007, playing in Euro 2000, the 2002 World Cup, Euro 2004, and the 2006 World Cup. He was named in the FIFA team of the tournament in both 2002 and 2006, highlighting his status as one of the best defenders in world football during that era. Campbell's club career took a dramatic turn in 2001, when he made one of the most controversial transfers in English football history, leaving Tottenham Hotspur to join arch-rivals Arsenal on a free transfer. Spurs fans were stunned, but the move transformed his career. At Arsenal, Campbell became a cornerstone of the legendary Invincible side that went unbeaten in the 2003 to 2004 Premier League season. He won 2 league titles, 3 FA Cups, and scored in the 2006 Champions League final. He later played for Portsmouth, where he won another FA Cup, had a brief stint at Notts County, returned to Arsenal, and finished his playing days with Newcastle United in 2011. Post-retirement, Campbell stepped into management with Macclesfield Town, helping them avoid relegation in 2019, before taking over at Southend United. Both roles were in challenging circumstances, and he's since spoken openly about the barriers facing black managers in English football. Campbell has often been viewed as a divisive figure in recent years, and has been outspoken about his perception that he has the credentials for top management jobs, and has often claimed that he is overlooked. In more recent times, he also put himself forward as the Conservative Party candidate for the Mayor of London. At Euro 96, Steve McManaman was one of England's most naturally gifted and unpredictable players. Then 24 years old and starring for Liverpool, he was known for his effortless dribbling, quick feet, and ability to create space where none existed. He brought flair and creativity to a side filled with industry and power, the kind of player who could turn a tight game with a flash of brilliance. McManaman featured in every match of the tournament and was a key figure in England's thrilling attacking displays. His best performance came in the 4-1 demolition of the Netherlands, where he wreaked havoc down the left with surging runs and sharp link-up play. Though he didn't score, he was instrumental in England's build-up play throughout the tournament. His international career continued until 2001, earning 37 caps and scoring 3 goals. He featured in both the 1998 World Cup and Euro 2000. But despite his club success, he was often overlooked by England managers who struggled to find room for his free-roaming style in rigid systems. At club level, McManaman's career took a bold turn in 1999, when he left Liverpool on a free transfer to join Real Madrid. It was a pioneering move for an English player, and a hugely successful one. He won 2 La Liga titles, 2 UEFA Champions League trophies, and scored a stunning volley in the 2000 Champions League final. He became a fan favourite in Madrid, respected for his humility, adaptability, and work ethic. He later returned to England with Manchester City, where he played until retiring in 2005. Since retiring, McManaman has become a regular presence on television, working as a pundit for TNT Sport and other broadcasters, particularly during Champions League coverage. In the summer of 1996, Ferdinand was one of the most feared strikers in the Premier League. At 29 years old, and coming off a sensational season with Newcastle United, where he'd scored 25 goals, he was a powerful, athletic and intelligent centre-forward, the perfect blend of strength and finesse. Despite his blistering form, Ferdinand found himself behind Alan Shearer and Teddy Sheringham in the England pecking order, and he failed to make a single appearance. Ferdinand earned 17 caps for England, and scored 5 goals between 1993 and 1998. He was selected for the 1998 World Cup, but competition remained fierce, and he was never truly given a run as England's main striker. His club career, however, was exceptional. After impressing at QPR, Ferdinand moved to Newcastle United in 1995, where he formed a legendary partnership with David Ginola in Kevin Keegan's thrilling all-out attack team. He was named PFA Players Player of the Year in 1996 and was a firm fan favourite on Tyneside. In a controversial twist, he was sold to Tottenham Hotspur in 1997. He later played for West Ham United, Leicester City, Bolton Wanderers, and finally Reading, before retiring in 2006. After retirement, Ferdinand moved into coaching and executive roles. He worked as a coach at Tottenham and later became director of football at QPR, the club where he made his name. He has also been a prominent voice in the push for greater representation of black professionals in leadership roles within the game. At Euro 96, Phil Neville was the youngest player in England's squad, just 19 years old, and already breaking through at Manchester United. He was a versatile, tactically disciplined defender who could play at both left-back and right-back. His inclusion by Terry Venables was a bold move, one for the future, but also a sign of the confidence England had in his ability even at such a young age. Wearing the number 19 shirt, Neville didn't make an appearance during the tournament, but being part of the squad gave him invaluable experience. Training alongside England's best during a home tournament set the tone for what would become a long and respectable international career. Neville went on to win 59 caps for England between 1996 and 2007, playing in Euro 2000 and Euro 2004, as well as several World Cup qualifying campaigns. His most infamous moment came during Euro 2000, when he gave away a late penalty against Romania that sent England crashing out, a tough experience that he handled with dignity. At club level, Neville spent over a decade with Manchester United, winning 6 Premier League titles, 3 FA Cups, and the 1999 UEFA Champions League as part of the historic treble-winning squad. In 2005, he moved to Everton, where he became club captain and one of the most respected voices in the dressing room, retiring in 2013. After retiring, Neville transitioned into coaching. He worked under David Moyes at Manchester United and was part of England's youth coaching setup. In 2018, he was appointed head coach of the England women's national team, guiding them to the 2019 World Cup semi-finals. He has since become co-owner of Salford City, and in 2021, he took charge of Inter Miami in Major League Soccer, co-owned by his former teammate David Beckham. He was dismissed in 2023 after a difficult run of results. He is currently the head coach of the Portland Timbers, remaining stateside. Steve Stone was one of the more unassuming names in England's Euro 96 squad, but his inclusion was well earned. At 24 years old, and playing for Nottingham Forest, Stone had enjoyed an excellent domestic season. He was a hard-working, disciplined right midfielder with a great engine, tidy technique, and a team-first attitude, the sort of player managers love. Stone came off the bench in 3 matches during the tournament. He didn't grab headlines, but played his part in keeping England's momentum steady. His role was to slot in seamlessly when called upon, and he did that without fuss. He earned 9 England caps in total, all between 1995 and 1996, and scored 2 goals. Euro 96 would be the pinnacle of his international career, with the Spain game quite surprisingly representing the final cap he was to receive. At club level, Stone spent the majority of his career with Nottingham Forest, making over 200 appearances. He played a key role in their third-place finish in the Premier League in 1995, and stayed loyal to the club through promotions, relegations. He later moved to Aston Villa, where he featured in the 2000 FA Cup final, and then to Portsmouth, helping them win promotion to the Premier League. He finished his playing career at Leeds United, retiring in 2006 after persistent injury setbacks. After retiring, Stone moved into coaching, starting with the Newcastle United Academy, before becoming part of the first-team coaching staff under several managers. He later held roles at Burnley and Everton, where he was part of Sean Dyche's coaching staff. In 1996, Robbie Fowler was the hottest young striker in English football. At just 21 years old, and already a star at Liverpool, he had racked up back-to-back 30-goal seasons and was terrorizing Premier League defenses with his sharp instincts, quick feet and clinical finishing. His inclusion in the England squad for Euro 96 was a no-brainer. Despite his blistering form, Fowler found himself behind Alan Shearer and Teddy Sheringham in the pecking order. He made 3 substitute appearances during the tournament. Fowler earned 26 caps for England between 1996 and 2002, scoring 7 goals. He was part of the squads for both Euro 2000 and the 2002 World Cup, but was never fully trusted as England's #1 striker, despite a phenomenal strike rate at club level. At Liverpool, Fowler became a legend. Nicknamed God by the Anfield faithful, he scored 183 goals for the club across 2 spells, and won the FA Cup, League Cup, and UEFA Cup, as part of the 2001 treble-winning season. He later played for Leeds United and Manchester City before returning to Liverpool. He went on to Cardiff City and Blackburn Rovers briefly, and had short stints abroad in Australia and Thailand, including a player coach role with Muang Thong United. He officially retired in the early 2010s, bringing an end to a glittering yet underappreciated career. After retirement, Fowler moved into coaching and management. He took charge of Brisbane Roar in the A-League, and later managed Al Qadsiya in Saudi Arabia. He's also been active in property investment, and has made various media appearances, keeping his name in the public eye. He also pulled on his boots once again for the ITV show Harry's Heroes. Rounding out the squad was Ian Walker, then 24 years old and the first-choice goalkeeper at Tottenham Hotspur. Walker had earned a reputation as a flashy shot-stopper, quick off his line, agile, and known for his distinctive blonde curtains haircut, which made him instantly recognisable in the mid-90s. As England's third-choice goalkeeper, behind David Seaman and Tim Flowers, Walker did not play during the tournament, but he was an important part of the squad's preparation and training. Being selected for a home European Championship at such a young age was a major milestone in his career. Walker earned 4 caps for England in total, with his final appearance coming in 2004 in a World Cup qualifier against Macedonia, a match remembered for a goalkeeping error that contributed to a disappointing draw. Still, he remained part of several England squads between 1996 and 2004, a testament to his consistency at club level. At Tottenham, he made over 300 appearances, winning the League Cup in 1999, and was regarded as one of the top English goalkeepers in the Premier League during the mid to late 90s. He later joined Leicester City, where he became club captain, and played until their relegation in 2004, finishing his career with Bolton Wanderers in 2008. Following his playing career, Walker transitioned into coaching. He managed non-league side Bishop Stortford before moving to China, working as a goalkeeping coach for Shanghai Shenhua and Shanghai SIPG, helping develop both domestic and international players in one of the world's fastest-growing footballing nations.